morning. I'm just approaching the motorway now. Conditions are really nice and sunny, not over busy. I'm going to join the motorway. I'm going to get my speed up. I'm observing in my mirrors, I'm looking over my shoulder, quick glance, I can merge into traffic. The idea is to accelerate to match the speed of traffic if possible. Now, there's lorries ahead of me, so when it's safe, check my mirror, signal, and try to overtake them safely. I'm going to stay in the middle lane because there's lorries ahead of me. By the way, I want to clear up a myth. This motorway's got 3 lanes. Some have 4, some could even be more than that. The left lane is for normal driving, the middle lane is for overtaking, and the right hand lane is for overtaking. Just bear that in mind, there's no such thing as a fast lane. Good morning, I'm on the motorway. I'm in the middle lane because I'm going to overtake that lorry. Although the HGV is going quite quickly, to be honest with you, I'd rather get past it. I'm in the middle lane, I'm doing about 70 miles an hour, just under, which is the speed limit. I'm going to get past the HGV. Ideally I want to be in the left hand lane, but there's no point at the moment because as you can see ahead of me I've got another HGV. And again, these HGVs are travelling at quite a good speed because they're obviously going downhill with the wind behind them. But I'm doing 70 miles an hour, which is the speed limit. I'm in the middle lane, which is perfectly fine for overtaking. But as soon as we get the chance, we're going to get into the left-hand lane. That is the lane you really want to be driving in. I've got past the HGV. I'm looking in my mirrors. I'm signalling. I'm going to go back into the left-hand lane. It's safe. And I can do 70 miles an hour in the left-hand lane perfectly fine. But don't be bullied. If you don't want to do 70 miles an hour, that's fine. But bear in mind, if you're going to go on a motorway, you certainly don't want to be timid of going a little bit faster. Because if you're going to go slow on a motorway and the motorway is clear, that would be quite dangerous. And I'd advise you to take an alternative route. Or seek some refresher lessons on motorway driving, which can be very, very useful. Motorways can be some of the safest roads in Britain. Just bear in mind that you're travelling at speed, so if anything was to go wrong, it could be quite serious. To make sure the car's up to scratch, make sure your tyres are good, and prepare for your journey and plan ahead. And remember, the 2-second rule, very, very important. As you can see on the hard shoulder, there's a lorry and there's a chap standing beside it, so give them plenty of room. It's great that this motorway's got a hard shoulder because you want to be in the left hand lane. If anything was to go wrong, at least you'd have a little bit of a run off there onto the hard shoulder. That's why you don't really want to be out in the outside lane. There's no such thing as a fast lane, remember that. And remember to keep your distance. Conditions are good today, so it's perfectly fine, nice and bright, very, very nice mid-October day. HGV ahead, looking in my mirrors, signal, making sure it's safe. Remember, when you check your door mirror, things will look further away, so bear that in mind when driving on a motorway, that cars and vehicles will be coming up a lot quicker, so you've really got to time it very, very well. mind, when I look in my door mirror, it shows things slightly further away, so I've got to time it really, really well and safely. Get past the lorry, give it plenty of room, check my mirrors and signal to go back into the middle lane. You do not want to stay in the outside lane. As I said before, earlier in the video, there's no such thing as a fast lane. All the lanes are the same. Left lane is for driving, middle lane is for overtaking, right lane is for overtaking. I'm overtaking that lorry, so I'm happy to stay in the middle. Check my mirrors, get well past the lorry. Check my mirrors again, signal, check my mirror, check my door mirror, and move into the left-hand lane safely. And this is where I want to stay now, in the left-hand lane, unless I need to overtake. Now shortly, I'm going to leave the motorway. See that blue sign 321, that is in yards. That's 100, that's 300 yards to my next turn off, that's 200, that's 100. I'm signalling left, I'm checking my mirrors, making sure it's safe. Bearing in mind I'm leaving a 70 mile an hour road going onto a much slower road, and often there's a roundabout usually at the end of these runoffs. So bearing in mind your speed, so as soon as you come off and do the 70, you've got to get your speed adjusted, so make sure you slow right down. And as I thought, there is a roundabout at the end here, so you do not want to be approaching that at high speeds. Hi, we're now joining an A road. Can anyone tell me in the comments what's the difference between an A road and a motorway? Now, same procedure, we're approaching it. We're signalling, we're looking at our mirrors, we're checking our blind spot, looking in the mirrors. Now we should be able to join this at a good speed. It was a 50 mile an hour approach. Now how do we know what the speed limit is here? Back there it said 50. But if we're on a road like this and we saw a national speed limit sign, what would that mean? Any ideas? The sign says 50. This is a dual carriageway. Now, dual carriageway doesn't necessarily mean 2 lanes, believe it or not. If anyone knows any more information on that, please drop me a line in the comments. Can you have more than 2 lanes on a dual carriageway? And look ahead, you can see the national speed limit sign. Can you see it? What would be the correct speed along here? Well, this time I'm going to tell you, it would be 70 miles an hour. It's funny, you know, I've been driving quite a bit today and I do feel a little bit tired. I'm not dangerously tired, I'm not sleepy, but I could do with a little break. So what's the best thing to do when you're tired? If you can, try to find a service place where you can pull over somewhere safe. Obviously don't pull up on the side of the road. Open your windows, play some music. If you've got a passenger, get a passenger to talk to you. Or ideally, find a place where you can have a coffee and just a little break. Up there in the horizon, I can just see a sign. Is it real? It looks like a McDonald's sign. Now, I'm feeling quite tired and a bit peckish, so I'm going to check my mirrors, signal left, and go in there for a short break. Now, bearing in mind, I've come off from a 70 mile an hour road, so once I exit this, I've got to remember that I do not want to approach it at 70 miles an hour. I want to get my speed right down because there's a petrol garage there. I certainly don't want to be going through there at high speed, so it's very important to adjust your speed, which I'm doing right now. Bringing my speed down to about 30, even slower than that. I think I might treat myself to a nice Big Mac and a nice coffee. Does anyone want to join me in a Big Mac? Now let's take a break. I think that's the best thing to do when you feel a bit tired. Just take a break. That's the safest thing to do. Whenever you feel tired, particularly on driving on motorways, A roads, faster roads, try to take a break as soon as you can. If you can't, at that particular point, open your windows, put the music on. If you've got a passenger, let them talk to you, and then try to find a place where you can stop safely. Anyway, I'm going to have a Big Mac now. Speak to you all soon. Oh, I feel much better now. Nice coffee, a 20-minute break, a very healthy McDonald's, a rather nice Big Mac. I knew I should have had a dessert, but never mind. Now we're going to join the A road. So we're going to accelerate hard, indicator out, looking in my mirror, checking my blind spot. I'm going to try to merge with traffic. I'm going to try to match their speeds. 9 times out of 10, vehicles may help you by moving into another lane, but that was safe. But if by any chance it's busy and you can't rejoin, then you'll just have to sort of wait until you get a safe gap. But normally you can accelerate, try to get up to the speed of the moving traffic, and then find a safe way in. Now, this is not a motorway, but it's got 3 lanes. And this is a 70-mile-an-hour road. Usually the difference between an A road and a motorway is there's not usually a hard shoulder on an A road. And on an A road, believe it or not, I can put my pedal bike on here if I wanted to. And the signs are usually green. As you can see ahead of us, there's a blue sign telling us that there's a motorway ahead. Now a motorway often is the same speed as an A road. And sometimes a motorway can have less lanes than an A road, but different rules apply. Think of the word motor. On a motorway, it means only motorised vehicles allowed, or motorised. On a dual carriageway or an A road, you can put a pedal bike on there if you wish. So that's the difference. As I said, there's often not a hard shoulder on the A road, but the speed limits can be the same. Just bear in mind, if you see a national speed limit sign, sometimes they can be 60 and sometimes they can be 70. It all depends on the carriageway. And the other thing about a dual carriageway is a provisional licence holder can drive on a dual carriageway, but a provisional licence holder cannot drive on a motorway unless they're with an accompanying ADI instructor like myself. But I would definitely advise anyone that's passed their test recently to take lessons on a motorway. Now any minute we're going to move into the right hand lane. I'm going to check my mirrors and signal. It's quite busy behind me, but I should be able to find a safe gap through. I'm going to move out now, that's good. Shortly we will be on the motorway. I say, it's virtually the same thing applies, same speed, 3 lanes, same as the carriageway. But as I said, different rules apply. When we pass that blue sign ahead of us, that is the motorway. To the left is the A road. In fact, this motorway, although it's a motorway, it's only got 2 lanes, and yet the A road had 3 lanes. As you can see on the left, it has a central. If you look on the left there, you can see it's got a hard shoulder. Now look ahead, we've got vehicles approaching from the other lane. Now it goes into a 4-lane, even 5 lanes. Look at that, 1, 2, 3, 4. Into 4 lanes now. And as it's a motorway, it has got a hard shoulder, which I'm all for. I'm not really into these motorways which don't have a hard shoulder. And luckily there aren't too many of those. In my opinion, you need to have a hard shoulder on a motorway. If anything does go wrong, you've got somewhere to go safely. As you can see, the motorway is quite busy, a lot of HGVs and stuff, so I'll make sure I keep my distance from the vehicle in front. The conditions are good, it's dry, we can do 70 miles an hour. I want to go into the left-hand lane, but there's no point because I may have to move out again, so I'm going to stay in the centre lane. Plan ahead, look ahead of you. You can see all those lorries bunching up. As they go down the hill slightly, they go faster, and as the gradient goes up, they go slower. Just be aware of that. But I definitely recommend any inexperienced drivers or newly qualified drivers take professional lessons on a motorway. It's invaluable. My aim is to get into the left-hand lane, but as you can see I can't. There's no point. There's large vehicles which are occupying that left lane. If I move into the left lane, I'll only have to move out again virtually straight away, which is no point. On windy days, bad weather, going past high-sided vehicles can be quite scary. Even for experienced drivers, you get a lot of movement and wind from the vehicle, from the high-sided vehicle, so that can be very, very tricky. Look ahead of us. I'm anticipating what's going on. I can see a lot of movement up there, so always keep a distance. At 70 miles per hour, the overall stopping distance in normal conditions like this, in good conditions, would be about 315 feet. And if it was bad conditions, raining, etc., I'd be inclined to double that. Most importantly, when you drive on a motorway, because you're travelling at speed, although motorways are pretty safe, to be honest with you, because you're going quite fast, things can happen quite quickly, things can be quite serious. So stick to the golden rules, use your mirrors, keep your distance, drive at a speed you're comfortable with, and try to be in the left-hand lane when possible. Although at the moment I can't get into the left-hand lane, as I said, it's no point. Motorway driving can be some of the safest roads in Britain, but when on a motorway, because you're travelling at higher speeds, if anything was to go wrong, things can be quite serious. This motorway at the moment is quite clear. There's a little bit of fog ahead. Just be prepared. Try to drive in the left lane when possible. Don't rely on your sat-nav solely. And there we go, there's the fog. So it's in a way it just came out of the blue, so always be prepared. So I'm driving on my dipped headlights, which is fine. Visibility is not great, but maybe the fog lights could be turned on. Visibility is less than 100 meters. Most importantly, make sure you can be seen. Early morning fog on the motorway just proves a point. A few minutes ago it was sunny and bright, and all of a sudden you get hit with a mist, so always be prepared. When driving on motorways, although this road's fairly clear, try to stick to the left lane. Always observe the speed limits, observe the signs. As you can see now, the fog's cleared. Make sure that you drive on your dipped headlights at all times, and if the fog is less than 100 meters of visibility, then turn on your fog lights. Very important to be seen. Although motorways can be some of the safest roads, when you're travelling at higher speeds, if things were to go wrong, they can be serious. Make sure that you're not tired. There's the fog coming back again. You see, it's gone from brightness to fog again, so you need to be very, very vigilant and very alert. Notice the car in front's got his fog lights on, you can just about see it in the distance. But I wouldn't advise in thick fog or mist using your main beams, because your main beams will reflect against the droplets of the fog and reflect on your windscreen. So main beam is only really used to warn other drivers. Do not use it in the fog, it'll make things worse, and of course it can blind oncoming traffic. Notice the vehicle in front, he's quite well lit, his lights are on, and you notice the one on the right is much brighter. That is a fog light. Now I can't understand why most cars today only have one fog light. Now if you look at that in the distance, it looks like it could be a bike or something. I just don't know why some cars, in fact most cars, only have one fog light and one reversing light. I'd really like to know the reason why this is. Surely it's safer to have two fog lights and two reversing lights.